The U.S. has reached another grim benchmark in the COVID-19 pandemic. The daily number of confirmed cases has surpassed 50,000 for the first time in one day. The country is now closing in on 3 million cases. Many of them are in Florida. The state set a new daily record today, adding more than 10,000 COVID-19 cases. And with 4th of July celebrations just days away, there's concern those numbers will rise even higher. Jackson Proskow reports.
Like a runaway train, there seems to be no stopping the pandemic in the U.S., with daily records for new infections shattered in Florida and Arizona, and with cases now on the rise in at least 40 states.
Unlike it was before, where it was localized to one area, we're now seeing many major metropolitan areas that could be facing the situation of overwhelming our healthcare capacity.
It's not just the result of reopening bars and restaurants, it's the disregard for any public health advice. In Alabama, groups of teens were caught holding coronavirus parties to purposely spread the virus, with cash prizes as an incentive for getting sick.
First, I couldn't believe it, that these kids are having parties and they're putting money in a pot and they're purposely trying to get COVID from the person who has COVID, and apparently whoever gets COVID first gets the pot.
As bad as things are now, experts say they're going to get worse. Hospitals are already overwhelmed in parts of Arizona, Texas, and California. Deaths and hospitalizations lag weeks behind initial infections.
Patients first have to get sick, then they have to get very sick, and unfortunately, then they succumb.
And the crisis is being handled.
But President Donald Trump is projecting an entirely different message, claiming the virus is under control.
We have some areas where we're putting out the flames or the fires, and that's working out well.
On Wednesday, Trump went so far as to suggest that COVID-19 would simply vanish.
I think that at some point that's going to sort of just disappear, I hope.
Instead, it keeps popping up in new places. USA! Less than 2 weeks after masks and social distancing were shunned at Trump's Tulsa, Oklahoma rally, former presidential candidate Herman Cain, who was in the crowd, is now hospitalized with COVID-19, though it's not clear where he contracted the virus. On Friday, Trump will visit Mount Rushmore ahead of Independence Day. And despite the nationwide surge in cases, the governor of South Dakota has made a point of advertising the fact that masks will not be required and social distancing will not be practiced at the event. David?
Jackson Proskow in Washington. Thank you, Jackson. It was in March when the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a pandemic. Since then, the virus has spread to almost every country on Earth, and it shows no signs of slowing down. The WHO says more than half the world's infections were recorded in June alone. Worldwide confirmed cases are expected to reach the 11 million mark as early as tomorrow. Crystal Goomansingh has a look at how we got here and where we may be headed.
From India to Brazil to the United States, COVID-19 infections are surging. Efforts are underway to get a handle on the dangerous trend.
We are identifying if anyone is suspected case over here or not. So that is what we are doing. So we are checking their temperature, their oxygen capacity with our thermal gun and our oximeter.
The World Health Organization says the spread of the virus is accelerating globally. It's renewing its warning to test, track, and isolate cases. The virus has extended its tentacles to every corner of the world. Members of Brazil's military this week sent masks to indigenous people deep in the Amazon. Everyone, everywhere is at risk.
This is not a failure of biology. It's not a failure of epidemiology or science. It's a failure of leadership in countries where we are seeing these kinds of increases.
There have been examples of countries successfully flattening the curve. Dr. Saad Omer says it proves it's possible, but he and many others are worried about what's still to come. Just take a look how fast the virus has spread in just a few months. In April, infections hit the 1 million mark. In May, that number jumped to 5 million. And then at the end of June, infections surpassed 10 million.
There's no use having a toolbox if your handyman is not willing to use it.
Tools such as testing and tracking, masks, physical distancing, and hand washing. Effective measures that the experts have been pushing for months. Crystal Goomansingh, Global News, London.